Dude, this is probably way before your time, but did you ever play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater?
I have, yeah.
Like the original?
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, that's like the reason I got into skateboarding when I was like in I want to say I was in 7th grade when that game came out. And I remember like me and my brother at the mall. I think it was at like Mervin's, which also dates me, I'm sure.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, Mervin's was like Macy's kind of. It was like a department store.
Oh, really?
It went out of business in the early 2000s.
Interesting.
But they always had this game console set up, like a PlayStation.
Yeah.
So when we'd go shopping, like when our mom would go to the store, we'd like just go hang out and play the video games.
That's fire.
And they had Tony Hawk Pro Skater
on
the demo.
On like what?
On a PlayStation 1.
On a PlayStation 1?
Yeah, and
Damn.
dude, and it was so sick. And then I remember for Christmas, my dad got us a PlayStation, which was like
crazy.
The sickest gift ever. My mom was furious.
That's like with, I think it was my mom got us a PlayStation 3. I think that was like the first like big, like it was like, oh shit. But the Wii was like crazy.
Yeah.
We had the Wii.
Dude, Wii was sick.
Wii was sick.
Wii was like my like late college for me.
Really?
We would hang out. Me and my roommates at the time come home from school. You know, Thursday night, nothing going on. We just smoke spliffs and just play Wii golf.
Wii golf.
Dude, it was all about the Wii golf because you could. I still think it's like one of the most underrated games. And
bring the Wii back,
dude. Bring the Wii back. Where's the Wii 2? That's what I want to know.
Dude, wait, don't they have the Wait, yeah. Because I was thinking of like the Nintendo, like the Switch.
Yeah, what's the new one? I'm so lost on Nintendo lore.
I am too. I'd say like Nintendo Switch.
I know there was like the Dolphin.
The what?
There's like the Nintendo Dolphin, and then there's like the Switch, which sounds like a S&M term.
The Switch, yeah.
And then you have, isn't there like a Kinect or something like that? I don't know.
I'm like so out of touch with that stuff right now.
Yeah.
Just kind of like I haven't even played video games in a while.
Yeah, I've been diving deep into the game age, especially over the pandemic.
Yeah.
I didn't have a console for years because I was worried of how addictive it is, knowing that about myself. But I think like in 2017, 2016, my friend gave me like an Xbox 360, and I just went in, and then I decided to get a PS4 because I was like, I can manage this. I keep it pretty good now. I'm like a PM gamer.
PM gamer. That's good.
Play some Warzone or something in the evening times.
I mean, I love Warzone, but I just, at the end of the day, I'm just like tired, and I'm just like, I just want to do nothing and just chill. And when I'm like, when I got like the day off or something like that, I try and go out and skate or like get outside and just enjoy the sun and on gloomy
things.
On gloomy days, I'll maybe bust out the Xbox.
Oh yeah.
But
I love that. I mean, it's so rare, especially here in Oakland. It's like 300 days of sunshine, like those days where we get clouds.
Crazy.
I'm like, yes, I can be a slob today.
I can be a slob.
It's dope.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, dude, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, the original, that shit was
crazy.
I mean, me and my brother got boards and started skating because of that. I think a lot of people got into skateboarding because of that first one. It was like 1990, I want to say 99 or early 2000. It was like, I feel like when skateboarding kind of hit its cultural peak. It was like the X Games were here in San Francisco.
Big. Yeah.
Tony Hawk had just landed the first 900. It was like very mainstream. Time. Yeah.
Damn.
And and we totally got into it. I was a huge skater throughout like high school, first couple years. Got in the newspaper a couple times.
Really?
We had this like student group at my middle school. It's like a student peer kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the counselor, shout out Peter Oppenheimer out there, came in and he was like, what do you guys want to do for a project? And I mean, I had just been dreaming about a skate park.
At the school?
I just wanted one. I grew up in a small town up in Marin, and we didn't have a skate park.
Oh,
so
like
I was,
just to have one around.
Yeah, so I was like always skating at post offices and at the school, getting into trouble. And
getting kicked out.
And I just dreamed like 4 of my birthdays in a row were to the skate park, and just like, I was like, hey, could we build a skate park? Like, that would be so tight.
Yeah.
And we talked about it, and we ended up making this festival called the Bean Fest, which was like
Bean Fest.
Like be, evolve, act now, be environmentally active now. There was a bunch of different acronyms. Mm-hmm. And it was like a 1-day cultural fest at our school with live music, and we had like booths and vendors, and then we bought a bunch of like masonite and wood and templates, and we built all these ramps. And we built like quarter pipes, and
dude,
we had like fun. A sick like tabletop, and we had a couple kickers, and it was a success. And I ended up that day, I used to do these like early grab airs.
Oh, that's sick.
Because I couldn't like ollie out of a transition. So
I just did early grabs everywhere.
Just early grabs off of ramps, and my friend was like towing me on his BMX, and I would like hold on to like the peg. Yeah. Or the seat, and then he would paddle really fast, and then I would just launch off the ramp, and I was trying to do an early grab 540 and come back like into the ramp.
Into the damn.
And I never like even got that close. Like I wasn't really landing back on the board. I was like barely.
You got to try it though.
But just full send. Yeah. You know?
Oh yeah.
And I ended up getting a shot in the Marin IJ, like local newspaper, a picture of me like grabbing all this air, like looking like I was doing this sick move.
And then not landing it.
Yeah, and like there was all these like amateur, like semi-pro skaters from the local skate shop that were there, and they were just like hell of mad at me because I was getting all this attention because I was trying this big trick.
And you didn't land
like, this guy's not even coming close to landing it, you know. And
that would get like skaters choked.
Oh, for sure. Like they were like definitely I was getting some shade, but I don't know. I was just having fun. Yeah. I was just trying to.
I mean, skating's all about fun, though.
Yeah, I was trying to land it.
Yeah, it's not you're just like, yeah, I did it.
Right. No, and it wasn't like I wasn't putting on airs or pretending like I was. You know, I was stoked on them. I was like, you guys are sick skaters. Like, you guys doing like hard flips off the transition and
stuff.
You know.
Yeah.
What kind of skating do you like to? Are you like a street guy?
Street, a lot of street.
Yeah.
But I like I like going to the skate park and just hanging out with my friends, having a good day, learning new stuff.
Mm-hmm. You got it. What are you working on right now? What's the trick you're trying to?
So actually, I just learned kickflip backtails, and that was like a crazy just the craziest accomplishment in my like skating. Throughout my whole life.
Have you landed it yet?
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, sick.
And I had it on video too.
Oh, tight.
I gotta show you that.
How good is that feeling?
It shows in the video. It shows because I'm like, I land it right, and like when you land a trick like that, you just black out for the whole thing, and then you land, you're like, holy shit! Like I just landed it, and so I was just screaming, and I was skating to all my friends because it was just being filmed on like a tripod, just because I tried it a bunch, and
on a phone.
I didn't want people to just be like keep filming me for like hours on end because I didn't even know if I was gonna land it that day. I tried it for like 3 days straight, and then I finally got it, and I was like, holy crap! And it was good because I got pop out too. I popped out, and it was clean. Yeah,
that's something that is such a specific. It's like such a specific thrill that I feel like it's comparable to other things in life, but the thrill of landing a new trick in skating that you've been trying for like weeks or months, it's this unique moment because it's 100% your achievement. Like nobody else is.
No, that's I didn't even think about that. It's just like you just enjoy that. Like it was a battle to get here, but we did it. You know.
Yeah, And also just the, you're like around your friends. Like it definitely feels different to land the trick when people are watching.
Yeah.
You get that,
all the homies are just psyched for you to land.
Totally. And it's just like this bliss that you get. And again, it was like, I think growing up, we all dreamed about being a pro.
Yeah.
None of us really expected we were going to get there.
Yeah.
Like I was skating at this level, and then, my friends were like skating at this level, and then we had a couple homies that we knew that were like at that level, and they weren't even like I got sponsored or anything.
I have a couple friends that are like sponsors. They're on like a bunch of companies, and skating with them is just like, it's crazy because they're all like filming for video parts and for the companies and everything, and it's cool to see because it's like a different dream, I guess. Like as a kid, I always wanted to go pro because that was kind of the thing, like for me, because as every skater, like you said, you just want to go and skate for a living. But then I picked up photography and
which is a viable, I think most skateboard videographers and photographers are skaters themselves.
A lot of them are, yeah.
Like that's how you get into it. You have your crew that you're working with.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I definitely found that in 2020. I went to Spain with my cousin. We were working on a skate video because even into his 30s now, he's still like, he like dove into skating like in the last 5 years, which is like, your body starts to break down. I'm so impressed every time I see him out there like sending it. But he's like a semi-pro skier.
Oh,
so we went into the Pyrenees to this little town in Spain, and I was like, maybe I can get into like, like being a snowboard videographer. Like that'd be sick, Yeah. And I brought my snowboard out, and the first day, like I'm out there with him and all these like pro skiers who are like just beasts.
Yeah.
And they just take me down the most gnarly double black diamond face, like moguls, and it's super icy.
Oh no, not on ice.
I'm like
too.
trying to film and like barely like, I can't keep up with those guys. They're just bombing the hill.
Bombing it.
And I realized after I had like a 1-day stint as a ski videographer, and I'm like, yeah,
not for me.
Yeah, like I didn't grow up in the mountains. I wasn't skiing every day. For these guys, it's like breathing.
Yeah, that's what I noticed about like, because I grew up snowboarding and skiing, but I always was drawn more to snowboarding just because skateboarding, and I just enjoyed it more. So I always felt that just because of how far I was from the mountains, it was like my progression wasn't as consistent just because I wasn't, able to just go from my house and hop on a ski lift. You know what I mean? You got to like travel out and do all that stuff. Yeah. So it's not as like with skating, you can just go outside your house and just slash around on the concrete for a couple hours.
There's a fundamental difference to people that grew up at a high school that had a ski team.
Yeah.
A
ski team.
If you I grew up playing CYO basketball and soccer. Some kids grow up in that, like their version of that is like slalom or, I don't know. I know my cousin was like racing in his, in his childhood years and adolescence. And for him, like skiing is like running. Like, he can move on those things, and his sense of balance is incredible. And, I snowboarded from like 6th grade on, and I loved it. I still really enjoy it, but there's a difference when you have that natural, unbroken chain of experience, going back that deep.
Yeah, I mean, it's like kind of like just picking up a camera or a skateboard, and you're just like, it's all natural, and it's there, and it's super accessible.
Yeah.
I feel like the more I do, I mean, with everyone, the more you do something, the better you get at it, right? So, but it's a lot more easy to be drawn to something that you're easily accessible to,
Yeah, and speaking to that, for my guests out there, how would you describe yourself as far as your photography and like the way that you think about yourself as a creative?
Like how do I picture myself?
Like when people ask you what do you do creatively, or what's how do you identify as a professional? Like, how do you describe, what it is?
Yeah, just professional photographer. Just because, I don't know, because I don't really have like a title right now. Because weddings, and then I'm slowly getting into fashion. I want to do more of that in the future for sure. But kind of just anything photography related, I wanna shoot, and it's never really I kind of just always want to be around a camera, and but in terms of like describing myself, I just say photographer, because there's many different areas of photography that I shoot, because one day I'll be in the studio or at a wedding, so, or editing,
right?
So yeah, photographer
Photographer at large.
Photographer, simple.
How did you get started doing that kind of work?
So I originally got into it because my grandfather gave me a old Olympus 35 RD film camera, and I didn't even I wasn't really huge on shooting with it. I actually was just super obsessed with how it looked, and it took me a while to get film and to actually shoot with it. But then I took a course in high school, and this is I think my junior year of high school, and I started to shoot in that class with a Nikon D750, I don't know, or 3200, something like that. I don't remember the exact number, but a DSLR, and I just kind of took from there. And I kind of already knew that the more and more I was doing it, I was like, you can make money off of it. This can be a career path. And so then I was kind of just I'm just going to try it out, and, put a lot of my attention on there. And then I think it was right after I graduated, I got a camera, Canon 80D, and that thing was, a beast for me then, but now it's not as crazy, so yeah, I'd say that's kind of how it all started. And then I just started to shoot with some friends and stuff, and
Were you shooting skating first? What was the first subject matter that you dove into?
Dude, I was automatically drawn into street photography.
Okay.
Just because I really liked just cool composition. It was kind of like skating to me, where I can walk around the streets and see a spot and be like, oh, I got to come back here and skate this. But instead it's oh, I got my camera. I can, shoot a photo or go out and... Something wrong?
No, we're good.
We're still rolling?
Yeah, I'm just monitoring.
Monitoring, fair enough. Yeah, I guess
what is street photography for those who don't know?
It's when you go around and just capture kind of your environment and people, a lot of city stuff. You just walk around, capture, a building that you find cool, has cool shadows, architecture, kind of stuff like that. Just
are people
quick and nothing planned. It's just kind of just there. Mm-hmm. I'll definitely go somewhere and I'm this is not the right time for it. I gotta wait until sunset on a nice day to come back and get it, or something like that. So I definitely plan it sometimes, but for the majority of it, I just walk around with my camera and just find cool stuff.
See what you see.
Yeah, but it's like skating, where you just come across a spot and you're just oh, I gotta skate this.
Did you have a moment in doing that, a particular image that you captured or something, where you're oh, I can do this? Where you looked at it afterwards and you're hey, I'm pretty good at this. I can actually do this. I can see myself succeeding.
I think it was either one of my first portraits that I was holy shit, this is good. I really like this. Or it was this landscape shot I took in BC, and it was of this pier. It was called the White Rock Pier, and I took a landscape shot of that at sunset, and I was just so excited about it. And that was actually the first print I did. And I don't do too much printing, but I was I need to print this, And yeah, so that was kind of the point where I was like, okay, like I'm progressing a lot more. And then once I started to progress with portrait stuff, slow, like not it wasn't quick. It took a little while, just because you got to plan portrait stuff and all that. And I still would watch like YouTube videos and other creators and kind of just learn from them. And yeah, I'm not really a school person, so I find that learning by going out and actually experiencing it, learning by experience, I learn so much quicker, and I just like it works for me.
YouTube Academy, University
YouTube
of YouTube.
YouTube Academy. Yeah,
I got myself a degree from there for sure.
I have a bachelor's or a master's.
Yeah. Were you working in like a dark room? Were you doing film exposures, or was this all digital by this time?
All digital. Okay. I've never really been a film photographer. I guess I do shoot film, but it's funny. I actually like love the process and I love film, but I think I don't really like the wait. Yeah. Honestly.
You want that instant gratification?
Yeah, but I do. I think I actually really love Polaroids. One of my cameras that I really want is an SX70. And it like folds up, super cool. It's like a sleeve, and then it pops up, and I'm super fascinated by that, and how quick Polaroids are to process, and I think that sort of gives me that like same feeling as shooting digital.
Yeah.
But I definitely like film a lot, but I've never worked in like film processing or anything like that. But
yeah, Polaroids have really made a comeback. I feel like there's such in like the era of the selfie or the digital photo age where everyone now has like an incredible camera in their pocket.
Yeah.
It's kind of like inflated the value of an image.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like how Spotify's inflated the value of a song. Like when you have access to every song, each individual song isn't quite worth emotionally the same as it used to be.
Yeah.
I think with images, because everybody like every day is snapping tens if not hundreds of images, and they just kind of go into the fucking swamp that is your phone, most of which you never even look at them again.
Facts.
I think that something like a Polaroid, having this physical thing in your hand, that is still, it's kind of in this sweet spot, right? Because like a really nice print is something that like you might hang on the wall, but it's almost like too nice to the point of where it's not, doesn't quite have that feeling of currency that like a Polaroid is still like, informal, but it's more than like a digital image.
Yeah.
So like, if you go into my kitchen and look on my fridge, I have all these Polaroids, and they're these lovely little moments that like that picture takes me back to the moment in a way that like a digital image just doesn't, you know? And so they do have their little niche, I think. And, getting back to the idea of the wedding, we both met working in weddings, covering weddings. I love the idea, when people at a wedding will either have a Polaroid, over by the like the guest book, or another cool one is like when people will hide disposable cameras all around like the reception area, or if it's like a camp out all around the campground, so that like, as a couple, you are going to miss a large amount of the things that happen at your wedding. It's just too much stuff going on. But having these little cameras, you get to then look back through them and you're going to see all these moments that you otherwise would have missed.
Yeah.
You're kind of like crowdsourcing coverage of your event.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like, even as a photographer for the wedding, it's like so cool to see that, because it's just like, it's a different vibe than like getting it professionally shot. It's just like, oh, I mean, we've taken some.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're just super super fun little you know, you can have it in your wallet or something.
Yeah.
Which I think is super different than, like, you know, just going on your phone and, like, looking at your photos, like you said.
You know, one thing I try to do every year, it's kind of like a personal practice I do, like, around my birthday, is I'll usually, like, spend an afternoon and go through every single Facebook photo that I have. I'm up to the point now where, you know, it takes about 3 hours.
Really?
I'm going back to, like, 2006, 2007. 2006 was when I got Facebook. All the way back then when it was only college kids on it. And I was very resistant, but one of my dorm mates was like, "Bro, do you know how many girls are on Facebook? Like, and you can just message them?" I was like, "What? What is this wonderful thing?" So looking back, it's kind of a cool practice to watch my face change and reverse.
Dude, that must be trippy, yeah.
Look at all these, you know, all these moments, and the majority of the photos that I have on Facebook are pre-smartphone.
Really?
So there are all these, like,
what are they on?
Handheld, you know, little cameras.
Film?
No, like digital cameras. Like, you know, for most of my 20s, there's, like, you know, smartphones weren't that ubiquitous yet, and so a lot of stuff was someone would have, like, a digital camera,
like a little small one.
Yeah, I had a little, like, Sony Carl Zeiss, whatever, 12 megapixel thing.
That's awesome.
And yeah, and looking back, and in the last, like, probably 5 years, like, my posting on Facebook has dropped to almost nothing. I think I put up these podcast episodes. That's pretty much it. And then I use Facebook maybe for, like, finding work or finding and selling items.
Yeah, marketplace.
Like, you know, marketplace.
Love it.
And that's pretty much where it's gotten. But looking back, you know, it's cool to see the many faces over the years that, like, used to be an everyday part of my life that I'm just not in touch with anymore. Or those old memories that, you know, that I was a part of. Do you use Facebook a lot? You're in the new generation, right?
Well, like, I'm not even consistent on Instagram. Like, I'm not on my phone very much. I on my laptop a lot, but when I'm not, like I said, I'm out, like, skating or something, and I don't even post. Like, I don't post on Instagram. I don't use Facebook. I get a lot of, like, "Oh, what's your Facebook?" Like, I'm just like, I don't even know.
What are your socials, bro?
What are your socials? Yeah, so just, like, Instagram. I used Twitter for a little while. I like Twitter.
What do you like about Twitter?
I just like how people have their guard down on Twitter. Because, like, with Instagram, people are super, even me, from, like, you know, from a standpoint of just, like, they're, I don't really know what it is, but it's something to do with, I can't even describe it, but, like, on Twitter you can just, like, post your tweet and it's kind of just in the air, you know, and it's up for conversation. Instagram, it's, like, one specific post and, like, people can comment, and I feel like in high school it's just, I don't know, it was, you didn't want to be judged or anything like that by what you posted. I don't even, like, now it doesn't really matter. I'll post kind of whatever, but I still just don't post very much.
Yeah, I think Instagram as a platform is a little more like PR. Like, it seems more curated, like self-curated, in the sense that everyone's kind of showing an idealized version of their reality.
That's what it is. Yeah.
You know? So it's like, and I like it for that reason. Like, you know, relative to, like, a Facebook, there's, like, it seems like there's less negativity on Instagram as a platform and a lot more creativity. You know, I like to, my timeline at least is, like, filled with art and creative stuff and comedy.
So mine's a lot of art.
Twitter, I know, is, like, a bigger kind of range because of the anonymous factor, where people can be anonymous on there. You're going to get, some would argue, a more honest representation of people's state or people's communication. But
like, the photography community on Twitter is, like, crazy, which I find, like, you know, a lot better than on Instagram, because Instagram is there's no feedback. And with Twitter, you can kind of just be like, oh, I love your, like people have their guard down, like I was saying earlier. And so they're kind of just able to post whatever and not really feel like, judged, I guess. I don't really know. I think there's like kind of a difference for sure.
That must have been a trip going through going through high school with social media. Like I think I had a MySpace for
Sweet.
For senior year.
Yeah.
But we didn't have to really deal with any of that. When I was in high school, there was no social media, so all the judgment and gossiping was very much word of mouth.
Yeah.
But I've heard that it's a whole nother landscape now, and you're still pretty fresh. You're 19, right? So I can't imagine what like going through high school with like all that must have been like.
Yeah, I mean, like on Instagram going through high school, I was only posting like skate stuff. Like I made skate edits and I had a good time doing that. I only got like positive feedback. So I didn't really see social media in a bad way. Just because it was just kind of like, I just post this and I don't really interact with people. I kind of just like photos and scroll and stuff.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I just kind of, would skate and then be like, oh, this is a sick trick, let me make an edit. Edits were super big when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Now they're not as much, but they're like kind of some trendy skateboarding and stuff like that was going on. Camo pants.
Hell yeah. And it's funny, there's been like as far as the fashion, as the style, it's like coming back around to where it was when I was in high school. Like you're wearing hella baggy pants, like we used to wear. Our pants used to be so baggy, and it's like that funny thing about generations, right? Like my generation, we idealized the 70s, and that was like our decade that we all wished we could live in the 70s. All the fashion was like 70s. That was the vibe. And then the next group was like fetishizing the 80s, which we thought the 80s was like disgusting, or like the worst music, the worst clothes. And now it seems like with the Gen Z, the younger half, like your section of it, the 90s are coming around, It's
weird how that like happens. I guess just like things come cool again, and I don't know. What I think about is like, what's the fashion gonna look like in the future,
right?
Like, because then what are we gonna be wearing then?
Like there's that delay, that whatever 30-year. 20 to 30 year delay for something to become retro or vintage.
Yeah.
And it's just funny to see, now, the culture bring it back. And it's crazy for me to think about that. I was telling this to my friend the other day, that we are now as close to the 90s as the 90s were to the 60s. And so for me, that's like like when I thought about the other day, my mind was like, because I grew up in the 90s. That was like, I'm a 90s kid. So to think about that, like that when I was alive in the 90s, I was as close to the 60s as we are now. And looked at,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, that's true. Yeah.
When I look at old, like, cause I love 90s films. When I look at those movies, they feel a lot more like, they feel a lot closer to like the 70s vibe of culture than they do to like, the 90s really feels more like the 70s than it does the 2010s or the 2020s,
True. Yeah.
And, so it's just a trip to see the way that culture transforms.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool to see with like you're talking about films, how different, like the technology and what films are doing nowadays. Like, because I was looking back at what was it? It was old James Bond films. That's what it was. Yeah. I watched one and then I was like, then I went like straight to like one of the newest films and I was like, wow, like how much they were able to spend and put into like the scenes where like there's an explosion is like crazy now, because it's so realistic now, but then it just wasn't.
Right. But it was to the people of the time. It was
to the people of the time, which I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But it was cool to, be able to compare those.
Dude, I mean, and it's a different form of enjoyment, but like I remember when Jurassic Park came out. I think it was like 95.
The first one was in 95?
Pretty sure, 95 or 96.
Interesting.
My dad took me and my brother to go see it.
Yeah.
And, dude, that shit was real. Like that looked so real to us back then. But that's
funny.
That's how, like, now it looks so fake, but that's even a better example. Like Jurassic Park actually holds up better than some other movies. But I think that, relative to what you were saying, like it's things look really real today, but then in 20 years, the stuff that's being made today
it's gonna look it's
gonna look shitty. Yeah. That's one of my big bones with CGI because I'm like a big practical effects guy. Mm-hmm. I really like the models and the puppets, and I think that's one of my big critiques of a lot of the new Star Wars is that it's all just like CGI. And there's a reason why like the original Star Wars aged so well. Mm-hmm. And part of it was because of like the special effects, the creatures. Yoda was like this weird little like Muppet guy, and you could see it. Your eye can tell that that's like a physical object.
Versus like an animated.
Versus the animated Yoda. I mean, like go back and look at episode 1 at the like prequels, which were all CGI, and look how bad they look now. You know what I mean? They're more dated in some ways as far as their realism than the originals.
What would you like more? What do you like more? The older or the new one?
Oh, the originals. I don't even I've had to emotionally divorce myself from anything else that's called Star Wars because I was like such a big Star Wars nerd growing up. Like that was your thing. That was my shit. Yeah. And I've seen that. I could quote when I watch Star Wars. I pretty much just follow along and say the lines out loud. Say the lines. Because it's my favorite movie of all time. Like I love that movie so much. Yeah. I watched it recently with my brother. We had like a Stony brother night. Oh, nice. And I was like tearing up because I was like, "This is so good."
I know what you mean. My brother and I do the same thing. We do the same thing. Different movies, but
yeah. What's your Star Wars?
Man, I don't know. What is it? I like I don't know. That's tough because I feel like it's funny now to like get stoned and watch Madagascar or like some shit like that, like Happy Feet.
Happy Feet is your Star Wars.
Just like something like that where it's just like Ice Age. Yeah. Ice Age is like, it'd just be one of those funny things. But I don't know if I don't know. I feel like it would have to like come up in a conversation and be like, oh my God, that's totally my Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Are you old enough to have seen like the Lord of the Rings trilogy in theaters?
What year was that?
It was like 2003.
No, I was born in 2002.
Oh shit! Yeah, I'm old. Yeah, that's wild. I'm trying to like, in my mind, I'm trying to place like what was the big like fantasy or science fiction franchise that was like defined your childhood. Yeah, like your
maybe Spider-Man.
Okay.
Like I watched a lot of Spider-Man as a kid.
What was which Spider-Man was current when you were a kid? It wasn't Tobey Maguire, right?
No, it was not Tom Holland.
It was the guy we were talking about, the middle guy.
Yeah.
The Amazing Spider-Man.
Andrew Garfield?
He's my favorite.
He's my favorite too. Yeah. But I don't think it was Tobey Maguire.
He was a skater.
He was, yeah.
That was a cool little...
No, but I don't know. Because I think is it 90s or early 2000s that the first Spider-Man was?
Tobey, yeah. Yeah, that was like the early 2000s.
Early 2000s?
When I was in high school.
So maybe that was probably my first. Like I think I grew up with that, I guess.
With like Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin and Kirsten Dunst.
Yeah. Good actors.
Yeah. Yeah, those were goofy for sure. It's funny how much nostalgia plays a role in like the emotional importance of movies.
Yeah.
Like one thing, you know, a lot of kids in my generation, like the movie Goonies was a huge movie for them.
Goonies?
Yeah. The
I've
Goonies.
seen, yeah.
Which was in the 80s, and it was just before my time. Mm-hmm. So I never really grew up watching the Goonies.
Yeah.
I didn't see it till I was like probably 24, 25.
Yeah.
So when I saw it, I was like, it's all right.
It's all right,
It just doesn't quite do it for me. But I'm not viewing it through the lens of nostalgia, being a kid and being like, oh my God, this is a crazy adventure.
Yeah.
Like this is, you know, and there's other movies that I feel that way about that other people, you know, I mean, Star Wars is a great example because like my cousin is 10 years younger than me. You know, he's 24 and he grew up with the prequels.
Yeah.
So to him, that's Star Wars. That's exciting.
Yeah.
He has fond memories of those.
You know what I think it is? Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo?
Because I watched a ton of Scooby-Doo.
The cartoon or the movie?
Cartoon and movie. Because I really like the cartoon.
Yeah.
But like the movies were like pretty funny too.
Wait, let's see if I can do it.
Is that it? I actually saw a video, I think it was on Instagram, and it was like this dude did it into a tunnel, and it sounded so similar to like how it actually, like how they did it in like the film.
Oh, he
so
like
funny.
did the Scooby-Doo voice?
Yeah.
There's so many good takes about Scooby-Doo, and like, who was your favorite character? Were you Shaggy Man?
Shaggy.
Yeah.
Shaggy
hey,
for
man,
sure. Hey, man.
We're just trying to figure out some mysteries, brother.
He's such a stoner too.
Yeah, dude.
It's so funny.
I got these weird pubes on my chin, man. Just... Me and Scoob are gonna go hit the bus. We'll be back in a little bit.
Was that a front for smoking weed?
I think it has to be, right?
It has to be.
Like, well, the original Scooby-Doo was what, like in the 70s? It feels like a 70s cartoon.
Is it really?
I think it's pretty old.
I think it goes back old, but it went on for a long. Yeah, it continued for a long time.
I'll have to look that up. Maybe we do have the information.
Gotta find that out.
What year did Scooby-Doo originate? Because you know,
it's a good thing.
Here on the Bartcast, we try to give our listeners the facts. You know,
facts.
We got to be about the facts. What year did Scooby?
Dude, but yeah, that was probably one of the one of my top 3, I'd say.
1969.
69?
Yeah, it was the first.
When did it air till?
It said the program's formula lent itself to seemingly endless variations, and new Scooby-Doo episodes were produced under different series titles into the early 80s. So I think that like it got syndication probably, so a lot of those old episodes
kept going.
Yeah. And then I feel like in maybe the 90s or early 2000s, it got revitalized. There was like a new Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, because I watched like, it was like hot when I was a kid, you know? So I don't know, yeah.
You ever get into Looney Tunes?
Yeah, oh my, dude. Looney Tunes, yes, absolutely. Wow. Yeah, that's probably the one.
Looney Tunes is dope.
Dude, I love the Looney Tunes. I mean, it goes back like a long time too.
You know what's wild about Looney Tunes? I realized this recently.
What?
If you actually go back and watch them, almost all of the audio in Looney Tunes is just orchestral music. Like every footstep, every like motion, everything that happens is just is like a symphony. The footsteps are like violins, like bloop, 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 bloop.
Dude.
Pew! So it's like pretty much you're watching a symphony with a cartoon accompaniment to it.
Seriously?
Yeah, and there's, you know, some of them have speaking, of course, and songs and stuff, but a lot of the Looney Tunes are just like symphony music that's creating a story of a show, all the audio stuff, and it's pretty cool to go back and, you know, the music is so good in those old cartoons.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I think Sylvester that's the cat's name, right?
Thuffer and Thuckatash.
Well, was that actually really good? That was really good. No, it was Sylvester, right?
The cat? Yeah, with Tweety Bird.
Yeah, Tweety. Those are probably my favorite episodes.
One of my
Roadrunner.
Roadrunner is great. I always loved Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. I was always rooting for the coyote.
Oh right. Just never could do it.
Never could pull it off.
Do it.
One of my favorite Sylvester moments of all time is in the movie Space Jam.
Oh yeah.
And they're like trying to put together a game plan for how they're gonna beat the Monstars. And
that's the basketball one, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dude.
Okay. I didn't really watch that too much.
You gotta check.
I've seen it. I know that.
Me and my brother did a whole podcast on Space Jam.
Really?
And The Last
That's
Dance,
awesome.
like the Bulls documentary. But one of my favorite moments of Sylvester is in that, and they're all like huddled up planning out how they're going to beat the Monstar basketball team.
Yeah.
And then it goes to Sylvester, and he's like, well, first what we're going to do is we're going to wait for the widow to leave. Then we're going to sneak in the room, and then we're going to get that bird, And it's just all his mind is just on eating Tweety. It's not even on basketball.
I think I've seen that scene.
Yeah, it's really good.
I definitely have. Then I've definitely seen it. I know that.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, it's pretty hilarious. Yeah. So I need to plug this laptop in. That nostalgia factor is huge.
Mm-hmm.
And
so that's definitely a big. Where is it? Oh, it's stuck in the table.
I'm gonna lift.
1, 2, 3.
Yep. There we go. Nice teamwork.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
So, all right. So, fashion photography. Why fashion? You could shoot anything. What about fashion excites you?
I think it's just like from an early age, I was always super interested in clothing. I never wanted when you're a kid, your mom dressed you kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted to do that. I always loved shopping. I don't know. I thought it was cool. I never really cared what people thought, I guess, and I kind of just wore what I want. And although I dress like a skater, because but I do, I dress up.
Is this T-shirt intentional?
Yeah, minimalistic. Yeah, I plan out every outfit. But I guess just even if I'm not wearing something super in your face, I guess. Loud. It's very colorful. I think I've always enjoyed, seeing fashion and new trends and what's going on with bigger companies in the industry, even smaller ones. So I guess my mix of photography is that it's just I like shooting with models and planning out and having a something that we want to capture, and it's not it's planned out and we're all right, we got to wait for this time, so it's or even in the studio, I guess. But I like that plan to capture something very specific and have emotion in it. With weddings, you kind of just capture what's going on and you capture the life of the event, which is the bride and groom and family, friends. But I just think that it draws my attention. I haven't done a lot of it, but from what I have done, I'm just yes. Yeah. And I could change my mind in the future, but I definitely need to give it a good shot. And
there's something about that too that you hit on, which I think is interesting, because all the work that we've done together, and certainly most of the work that we're both doing these days, revolves around covering and documenting an event. Yeah. Something that's already set up and happening. Yeah. And it does change when you go into some sort of intentional space, a studio, a location, where the content itself is being created for the sole purpose of being captured. Yeah. And so I can see that, I'm coming off, last week I went to a fashion shoot, and that's kind of, I was documenting and covering, but there was more, I was also directing. There was more of a back and forth and more of more input on the creative's end rather than and it all being covered. Placed,
But although with weddings, the getting ready portion, I think my favorite part of the wedding is that time with the groom or the bride, where you're able to get those portraits or sunset photos and all that stuff. that's that fun time where you're just like, all right, this is all us.
Yeah.
What are we going to get? Like silhouette shots, cool, cool photos that, have that same fashion sense. So there's a little bit of it there, which also makes me think about it like, it'll just be more fun if I'm just doing that specifically. We have that intentional goal to get, a shot for a magazine or an ad campaign.
Refine the fun.
Yeah.
I know what you mean, though. Yeah, those moments are often my favorite, too, because I feel, I'm more engaged when I have the ability to input and to be more creative, to direct, we were talking about this at the last wedding. My favorite shot of the whole day is the ring shots.
They're beautiful,
and being able to, I love guerrilla shooting and trying to work with what you have on site. And so, on this last wedding, I just grabbed a bunch of the candles off people's tables and used my phone as a mount, and I to try to mess with the light. I borrowed one of the girls, just some random girls iPhone, so I could shine the light on the gems. And to me, that was the most fun part, because here I am getting to set up my own composition. I think about product videography.
Dude,
is something that interests me a lot. And shooting people is cool, but also shooting objects will stand still when you tell them to stand. So, that's always fun. But those beats on the wedding are definitely where I feel the most engaged too, when I'm getting to work directly with people on camera.
The people or the objects. I definitely, even product stuff though. I'd really like to do product photography. I've looked at different places to work for as a product photographer, or I've done product photography before, just not enough to be I know I like to do this. But anytime, even when you're just doing those ring shots, it's just super fun. You're just in that little space. You're like, all right, we tweak this setting, that setting.
Is there a particular brand or client that's your holy grail?
Oh, for fashion?
Yeah.
Man, that's tough. Because I don't think, did we touch on this? I've never shot skateboarding before.
Really?
Never.
Interesting.
Never, I've
you never brought your camera out when?
No, I've never. Which is so, I find that super interesting, but I'm I wonder why I don't. But at the same time, it's when I'm out skating, I just want to skate, you know, and I think I like capturing fashion and stuff like that. People, I have a lot of friends in the skate industry that are photographers, and I've been shot photos of, and I think the process is really cool on the other side of the lens too. But it just doesn't have the same. I don't get drawn to it as much as just going out and skating. So that
was the first videography I ever did.
Skating
in high school. Me and my brother got it was a high 8 or mini DV camcorder.
Yeah.
Well, it was the original tape.
Like a cassette.
It was a cassette, and then we had to digitize it when we got home.
Damn.
And it digitized in real time. So the amount of time you shot, that's how long it took to upload. So it took hours.
That's cool though.
And then I was editing on iMovie, just figured it out on my own,
Yeah.
And we had this skate video that was just an evolving video that we never put out. We never finished.
Had a good time doing.
It's one of my great regrets is that I lost in my 20s the computer that had all that footage on it.
Dude, archive stuff, man.
I wish I still had it. This is pre-cloud, right? So it was all on this one hard drive. I gave my brother the computer at one point because I got a new laptop.
Yeah.
And those files got lost somewhere along the way. But dude, we had the sickest little skate video, and but skateboarding, 2 years ago when I went to Barcelona with my cousin and I was just shooting him. It's so much fun. I would totally do more of that. And I have all these ideas, I have this, again, it's I have so many projects that just I haven't done, but are in my head alive. And so me and my cousin are, have this idea for a skate video called Big Tricks.
Big trick. Oh, we talked about this. And they're on little things.
The idea is like little tricks, or I'm shooting non-professionals.
Yeah.
Although professionals are welcome.
Yeah.
But I'm shooting these tricks, little tricks shot big. So like, a kickflip over a 5-stair might not be considered big enough for a video.
Yeah.
But I want to put it in a video and shoot it in a way where it looks
crazy.
Like,
blown out.
And that's also like there's something really aesthetically pleasing about someone just doing a big kickflip, like a simple trick over an object, or pop shove it, over a 3-stair.
Yeah. Some of those simple tricks though are like my favorite. Like I love pop shove it's over trash cans.
That looks cool.
It's one of my favorite things, just because it's so simple but yet technical. It's just like you got to be at the right time to catch it, and if you do it right, you catch it like all steezy.
Oh, a huge pop shove it, or just a huge slow kick flip,
Beautiful. Some of the best things.
Yeah. I remember, I think at my peak of skating, I was doing like huge, like half cabs over 5-stairs.
That's what's up.
I like ollie to 7 once.
Good stuff.
Kick flipping 5-stairs.
Nice.
But man, I destroyed my ankles.
I don't skate stairs. Yeah.
Paid the price.
I do not skate stairs because of that reason. Yeah, I don't anymore. I'll like do a couple of my basics on the stairs just because I know that I'll land them.
Yeah.
But I never am just like, oh, let's go sesh this 12-stair. Like, no.
What do you mostly like to skate?
Weird things. Like weird objects that just like nobody wants to get tricks on.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Like I that's why I think Europe is super cool, because they have like so many weird spots that I just want to hit.
All the old architecture.
Yeah. And so I mean, like, that's why there's a skater named Deeds, and he's like one of my favorite skateboarders because he just like does crazy tricks on like super weird spots and makes it look really, really good. Style's crazy, so that definitely inspires me. But
I mean, that's one thing too, as a bit of an old dog in the skate, I'm not old dog compared to the real OGs, but I'm just blown away by where the sport has gotten.
Oh,
and like, dude, in like your generation, like the Gen Z kids,
crazy.
It's just insane what kids are doing these days. Like I couldn't even imagine now, like trying to compete against the kind of tricks that like 12-year-olds are throwing down.
12-year-olds are like throwing down shit on El Toro, like straight, or like Hollywood 16. Crazy kids. I have no idea. I'm like, that's why I'm not going pro.
Right. So you said Deeds. Who are some of the other skaters that you are following right now that you think are like the guys that are pushing the sport forward, or girls?
Honestly, I think just where stuff is right now, I feel like there's a lot of dudes on like Instagram. Instagram's taken over skating. It's crazy. There's a lot of stuff going on there. So I'd say like some of those skaters, like Cater, William Stroback, who's a filmer. So the Supreme team, Supreme Riders, they all do it right. Like, I think the filming is cool, all that stuff. And some of those unknown names that don't really do it for publicity or anything like that, I think I like a lot of those videos.
Underground Bros,
yeah. GX1000. Yeah, I look up to a lot of those guys. But
that's tight.
Yeah, for the skating and stuff, it's cool.
Yeah. Cool. Right on, man. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming on my podcast.
Thank you for having me.
This was your first podcast.
It was my first podcast.
Pretty fun, right?
I love it. Yeah. Yeah, it's chill. It's laid back. Enjoyed it.
How can people like find you or connect with you?
Through my Instagram, which is Brennan.smart, BRENNAN _smart, SMART, and then my website, BrennanSmart.com.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's probably my
Do you have a like a website or a portfolio if people want to check out your photography?
Website. And I don't post much on Instagram, so BrennanSmart.com.
BrennanSmart.com. Sweet. Well, and you got any last things before we wrap up here?
No, thank you.
Hell yeah, dude.
Appreciate you, bro.
Thanks for coming on, bro.
Absolutely.
And
love it.
To all you out there, be well. till the next time, I'll see you at the next wedding, bro.
Hell yeah.